Hello everyone. I'm just going to talk today a little bit about the short power of Wing Chun. And so what that is it's usually punching from the elbow and making kind of a triangular shape that we extend, right? And then that gives us what we call short power. So even if somebody comes in and they grab us and they're trying to wrestle, normal martial arts, they get kind of jammed up and they can't do anything, right? Well, Wing Chun teaches how to use revolving movements, right, that are almost spiral, as well as that extension of a triangle that gives structural power, right? And so sometimes we'll use a spiral, but then we'll also shift the body with it, right? Whether it's with striking or more defensive type movements, but even our defensive movements are an attack as well. And everything kind of goes in like a triangle to the center line. And so then that's why you don't see us throwing wild stuff out like this, because we're always kind of cutting to the center line. So whatever comes at us, instead of blocking something wild, we'll put a hand out there to check it, but we'll step in. So then that way, you know, we're actually getting kind of in front of the power and going to its source, right? So what's interesting about Wing Chun is they figured out these angles that are basically 135 degrees on almost all of our hand formations, right? And what I mean by 135 degrees is this is 180, right? This is 90, and you know, that's 45, right? 90, 135. So it's just 45 degrees forward. And when you have that angle and you put a little bit of firmness behind it, and you don't need to be stiff, it will actually stop most force, right? And so if it's overwhelming force that somebody's throwing at you, we can also pivot with that. And what happens is the force hits, but it tends to go down along the lines of the bone structure, right? So instead of blocking something like this, where it can collapse, we have that forward angle. So when the force comes, it will hit, but then a lot of the force goes down through the bone structure, right? And so not only through the arm, but we connect it to the hips and the body and the knees. And so when that force comes, it goes right down into the ground, right? But if I'm not at that 135 degree angle, that will collapse and go into me and push me back, right? But if I'm at that 135, it won't. And something can come one way or another way, and we just tilt that 135 degree angle in different tools, right? And what's interesting is almost all of the Wing Chun tools not only have that 135 degree angle, but they have a little hook on the end. And what that hook does is it kind of traps the opponent's arms, so it can't go anywhere. So we have like little hooks on what they call Fuk Sao, our controlling hand, Tan Sao, the dispersing hand, kind of dispersing it off to the side, right? And even our punch has that angle, even our punch, right? So we use these angles with the wrist to kind of trap the hand without having to grab it and control it. The angle and the shape stops the arm, the opponent's arm, and traps it at the same time. And so we use these hooking shapes on the end of our arms, which appear to be, you know, that we're just kind of sticking, but it actually stops power, and it doesn't just stick like patty cake hands, but it actually stops power from the opponent, right? Puts it back down into the ground. And so usually with Wing Chun, when somebody comes at us, we intercept, kind of like Bruce Lee talks about, and of course Bruce Lee learned Wing Chun, but it's intercept and then come into the center. Intercept, come into the center, right? And so mainly, it's usually mainly women that I've been teaching lately. And, you know, I'd rather teach women that will use the art to protect themselves than teach men who just want to collect martial art moves for their own ego, right? So these women that I teach, I don't teach them just to do the Wing Chun and like hit a guy, right? I teach them to intercept and to come in and to keep beating the guy down to where he doesn't even have a chance to reset, right? You know, we don't jump on somebody and go into the ground or on the ground, but, you know, we'll beat somebody down to where they can't get up, okay? So it seems kind of cruel, but that's about the only way you can defend yourself against a real attacker, is where you become the attacker and then they become the victim, right? So, and I have no qualms with that, because if somebody is attacking a stranger, that means that they've done it before, and you know, it's quite possible that they've hurt many people in their lives, and it's time for a karmic payback, right? So anyway, just wanted to talk about Wing Chun, how we intercept and go into the center line, and how we utilize that short power. Okay, thanks for joining me.